Stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
A close one between a Delta Airlines regional jet and a B-52 in the skies over North Dakota. Here's ABC Transportation correspondent Gio Benitez.
A Delta regional jet on approach to Minot, North Dakota on Friday, forced to make an aggressive maneuver to avoid a mid-air collision with a B-52 bomber, according to the pilot. It's unclear how close the two planes came to each other.
Minot is home to an Air Force base where they keep B-52s. No one was hurt, but the whole thing is under investigation. A California judge is offering no timeline for a decision on whether lawsuits filed by the loved ones of the Uvalde school shooting victims can move forward.
Families of many of the 21 people killed in the 2022 school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, lay some of the blame at the feet of video game maker Activision. Rolando Gutierrez represents Uvalde in the Texas.
Daily Dodge TV studios. And Terry Bell for today. Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Thank you so much, Jake, and welcome to Community Comments. We are joined today by Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck, and we have a lot of things going on to talk about. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to join the program by calling or texting 920-887-9595 or calling the studio at 885-4446. Bobbi Marck, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Terry, for having me.
Absolutely. Probably one of the biggest items before the city right now is the search for a new administrator. Nathan Teal resigned a couple of months ago, and this is the first time that the city of Beaver Dam is looking to replace a city administrator. So this is new for everybody.
Correct. So we're taking it one step at a time. Fortunately, we have contracted services with an agency who's very good at their job. It's a professional candidate search firm, and they not only handle the job search and the marketing for Beaver Dam, but fortunately, the head of the agency also is serving as our interim administrator, which has been really helpful. Jay Shambeau is our current interim administrator, 30 years of experience in government administration. Most recently, he was the city administrator for the city of West Bend for many years. So lots of good experience, and what makes this situation ideal is not only is he helping us to move the city forward while we're looking for our new permanent administrator, the fact that he's here and he's involved in our daily business, he's getting to know the culture of the city of Beaver Dam and getting to know our needs. And so when he's going out to look for candidates, he'll have a real good idea of what kind of candidate will fit best for our particular situation. So we're feeling very confident. I have to admit, at the beginning of the process, when Nathan submitted his resignation, there were a lot of unknowns and a little trepidation, but the process is moving forward. Jay and I are heading to a professional conference next week to hopefully speak with some potential candidates. I know we already have a list of people who look like potentially good interview candidates, and we're looking to schedule interviews for the position in the middle of August.
What sorts of qualities are you looking for, or the people, everyone involved in this search is looking for in a new Beaver Dam city administrator?
Yeah, one of the first steps that Jay's firm took after they were hired is they sent out a survey to all city staff and all council members asking what kinds of qualities, and asking them to rank what kinds of qualities they would like to see in the new administrator. And there weren't a lot of surprises. I think the characteristics that came to the top were the same kinds of characteristics we were looking for before. A big one was expertise and leadership when it comes to developing a budget, because budgeting is such a huge part of running the city. It all comes down to money. They looked at someone, because our city administrator, they're the CEO of the city staff, and so looking for someone who has those leadership qualities, who can bring the staff together and work with people, make them feel comfortable, get the most out of our staff. Looking for someone who is well-versed in the statutory requirements and knowing all those ins and outs, things that maybe council members sometimes need education on. Looking at our city administrator is our chief HR person, so someone who has a little bit of experience with HR matters. So yeah, those are the kinds of things we're looking for. A city administrator wears many, many hats, and trying to find the right fit for Beaver Dam is important.
And you say the interview process is going to go at least into August?
Correct.
How do you have a cutoff date for that part of the process?
I believe the cutoff date for applications is the end of this month. If you Google online, they have all of their marketing materials and their application materials out there for people to find. I know they've been sending the word out through their various associations that they're involved in, and the various, LinkedIn and the social media sites where people go when they're looking for jobs. So I believe the end of the month is the cutoff for the first round of applications. We're looking at the middle of the second or third week in August. We'll have a full day of interviews. And at that point, then we'll decide if we've seen enough quality candidates or if we want to continue to reopen the application pool.
Best case scenario, assuming everything goes smoothly, how soon could a new person be on board?
If everything went very smoothly, we could potentially have someone in September. It kind of depends, because even if we found the perfect candidate during the interview process in the middle of August, they still have to wrap up their previous job. In some cases, they're having to move from, sometimes a great distance away. So it all depends on the point from choosing the new candidate to when that new candidate can actually come on board. But, in a perfect world, September would be great, because, budget season is upon us.
Yes, for sure. Does it make a great deal of difference to you or anyone else involved that the successful candidate be from close by or far away?
I don't think that's a major issue. I think the biggest thing is experience. Having someone who's had some experience. Part of our job description was, you can advertise for someone who is like right out of college or has less experience and pay them less. And we had that discussion as a council. What's the direction we wanted to go? And we decided that, with a community as large as Beaver Dam, we felt we really needed someone with quality experience, with not their first
It's
job
not an
right out of
entry-level
college.
job.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So we're looking for someone who has some relevant experience, so someone who can fit into our culture, because every community is different. So those are the things that we're looking for.
Very good. We're talking to Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck about a lot of issues facing the city. We're going to talk about Madison Street Road construction in just a moment, but first we're going to take a break here, then be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Why are interscholastic sports called the last classroom of the day? Because
Thank you, Jake. We are talking to Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck about a lot of different things. If there's anything on your mind that you would like to comment on or ask a question, go ahead and reach out to us. You can call or text at 920-887-9595 or call us at the studio at 885-4446. Mayor Marck, tonight the council will be talking about perhaps accepting a Department of Natural Resources grant for Swan Park.
Correct. As I think most people are aware, there's been this long-range plan to revitalize Swan City Park. We completed phase 1, which included the splash pad, removing the wading pool and bringing in the new splash pad. We've also done a tremendous amount of work with the lagoons and the bridges, and it's really starting to sort of return to its former glory. I think all of the people that have contributed to that, the Friends of Swan Park and the various groups, should feel very proud that Swan Park is really starting to take shape. But there's still a phase 3 that we're working on, and that includes new walking paths and the refurbishing of the band shell and the spring house. And last year we submitted for a DNR grant, and we received less than we had hoped because we had to share the award with 2 other communities. It's a competitive grant process, and they look at all the applications they receive each year to decide who gets the money. So we declined it last year and resubmitted it for this year, hoping to get more. And that gamble paid off, because this year we are potentially in line to receive $739,000. But the issue is that this is a matching grant program. So if the city accepts the grant, that means they have to come up with at least another $739,000 to put towards specifically the walking paths. The DNR grant was not interested in funding the band shell, only the walking paths, but the walking paths themselves are going to take over $1 million. So, there's plenty of need for the money. So tonight the council will be discussing whether we want to accept the grant. By accepting the grant, it doesn't necessarily mean we're committing the full amount, because the organization, there's a group of citizens who have been very committed and dedicated to this project, and who deserve a lot of the credit for everything that's happened so far. And I know they've raised a significant amount of funds. I don't know what that exact amount is, but that could also be used towards the matching of the $739,000. So the actual amount the city would be committing would be hammered out during the budget process, and also after we've seen how many contributions we've received, or this group has received. So if there's anybody out there who at some point was thinking they wanted to contribute to the Swan Park revitalization efforts, now would be a great time to donate. You can donate through the Beaver Dam Area Community Foundation. There's a Swan Park Fund where they're the holders of the donations. And this would be a great time to help add to that pot of money so that we are able to firmly commit so that we can receive this grant.
Right. Speaking of parks, last time the council met, the council gave its blessing to another group of local citizens who would like to put a new plaza downtown to be the new home to a lot of our big tourist destinations. Taste of Wisconsin, the Arts and Peony Festival, and it's still very much in the early planning station. But it sounds like the city is giving this group the green light to go ahead and pursue what they'd like to see.
Yes, this group of citizens, they call themselves the Hometown Plan Group, and they came together during the process that the city sponsored. A year and a half ago, called the Community Action Plan, and the idea was to get citizens from all across the community together to talk about their vision of the future of Beaver Dam. And it was part of, every community is required by state law to have a comprehensive plan, and it has to be updated every 10 years. So we were due to update our plan. So this process was part of helping to create that plan, and then we're supposed to look to that plan as guidance for the next 10 years of where we want the city to go. So this group, they had so much enthusiasm and so many great ideas, and even though their job was done in terms of helping write the plan, they decided they wanted to focus on some of the ideas that were now in the plan and to make those ideas a reality. So they focused on some bike initiatives. We have the bike repair stations that are being created and looking at creating more bike paths throughout the community. And they also are focusing now on this community plaza idea. And they've, at the council meeting 2 weeks ago, they had a wonderful video with their vision of what it could look like. The idea that it would potentially have solar pavilions.
Yeah, that would double as the roof.
Yep, exactly, so that there would be, shelter for people to use, and the solar panels would generate electricity for use both by people at the site and potentially be sold back to the city. It would help free up. For example, now some of our activities take place, we're blocking off South Spring Street, city parking lot, private parking lot, to kind of free up some of those areas for their intended use so that the activities could take place in this plaza area.
You may have answered my next question, but I guess, why would this be an improvement over where these events are being held now?
Yeah, part of it is the events that we have now are in locations that, for example, the Taste of Wisconsin, it's hot, there's no shade, and it's taking up parking that people coming to Taste of Wisconsin could potentially use if they had another space. The pavilion area would also include grass and the shaded area, so it would be more comfortable. It would have restrooms, which would make the whole experience a better experience. And in most communities, a central plaza-like area is seen as a place for the whole community to come together for a variety of activities, both for activities that currently exist, but potential new ones, and even just for casual events where people feel like getting together. So plazas and downtown gathering spaces are seen as often key areas in the heart of a downtown. And so that's one of the reasons why this group of citizens feels like it's one of the pieces that Beaver Dam is missing.
And this would be north of the Watermark building. There is, I think, a couple of buildings at this place now. I guess the next step would be procuring this land. It's privately owned right now, the spot that the group has in mind.
Right. While the group has this, they've looked at a variety of options, and that's the site that they feel would be the best. No site for sure has been established. The next step of the process is to develop, they came with just basically an idea and some prototype pictures that they had created. But now the next step is to spend a small amount of money to get a firm to create an actual plan for the structure. And that is necessary both to get a precise estimate of what it would cost to build, but it's also necessary to decide what kind of site would be appropriate for that structure. And if we're looking at getting grants, most grants require that you have a detailed design in mind before you apply for the grant. So that's the next step. I don't know when the group will, I assume at some point they'll be coming forward to ask for money to provide these detailed, professionally created plans. Once those plans are created and there's commitment from the city, then the next question is where it would be located. And again, this group, they have a specific site in mind, but no site has been decided upon at this point.
Very good. We are talking to Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck about a lot of different issues facing the city right now. We're going to take a break for the news, then be right back on Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
If you love brats,
Terry Bell for the next segment here on Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV.
Thank you, Jake. We're talking to Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck. If you would like to join the conversation, we invite you to do that. You can call or text us at 920-887-9595 or give us a call here at the studio at 885-4446. And we were just talking about the Hometown Plan group just a moment ago. They're also, they were the people behind the new welcome signs that are up around the entry points into the city.
Well, actually, no.
Okay, all right.
The new welcome signs go back to, let's see, probably 2020.
Okay.
It began with federal American Relief funds, COVID
sure.
relief funds, and the city received a nice, amount of money for that. And one of the goals of those grants was to improve the physical appeal of your community. And so those signs started back with actually former Mayor Becky Gluen, and a long process of deciding, what kind of sign and what kind of design, and cooperating with the Chamber of Commerce helped with the idea because they're our tourism arm. And yeah, so it's really exciting to finally see these signs come to fruition. And we're excited. There's 3 new ones. We decided that we needed them at the major locations where you enter and exit Beaver Dam. So there's one by McDonald's at the entrance to 33. There's one on the south, the 151 heading out on South Madison Street by Quick Trip, and then there's one to the north on 33 North heading towards Fox Lake. They're all identical signs. I think they're really nice looking, really sharp. I like the fact that they're lit from the inside so that you can see them at night. And the idea was to update our logo. The old 2 signs that we had were nice, but they were over 20 years old and they were more of an historic look. Whereas we wanted something, sort of a rebranding, something fresh, something that matched the rest of our city logos. So yeah, pretty exciting to finally see that come to reality. And then we also have one other small sign that I think is pretty cool, that in June we dedicated a sign. It's again on the Beaver Dam population sign on 33 by McDonald's, which says Home of Miss Wisconsin Mandy Genord 2024. So we're proud to have such a distinguished young lady call Beaver Dam home. And so we were happy to support her family in their idea and their request. They funded the sign, and then the city put it up. So, yeah, so nice to have those new additions.
Yeah. Why do you feel that it's important to, as I think you alluded to it a moment ago, but to put up these new signs to update, refresh the city's image to people coming in and out?
Yeah, well, every community needs to not only put on their best face, but show what makes them unique and what makes people wanting to come back and maybe come back and here to live. So all those small little things, the logo, the signs, the fact that we have a Miss Wisconsin living here, all of those things help, in little ways, make us unique.
Absolutely. There's another big thing happening here in Beaver Dam this summer, and that is that the library is getting some much-needed renovations, but in the meantime, they're going to have to move so those renovations can happen. You can elaborate on that better than I.
Yeah, as a huge supporter of the library my entire life, I'm really excited about this project. This is the first major renovation that our library is undergoing since it was built in the 1980s. So it's kind of a big deal. And the renovation itself it's going to improve accessibility. It's going to add technology and spaces for the 21st century. It's going to create a new parking or a new entrance off the parking lot, which, you know, seems like such a logical thing now looking back, that let's have the entrance close to where most people park.
Sure. I mean, I was
Yeah.
going to say, it sounds like the entrance is going to be one of the big features of this that I think is really meant to improve the customer service experience.
Exactly. There's going to be new spaces. There's going to be a reading room with a fireplace. There's going to be spaces so students and small groups can talk and work together. So there's going to be a beautiful children's area. There's going to be a storybook trail along the outside. So just lots of really neat things are in store. And to make those things happen, of course, it's going to take some major renovation. And I know that the library board has done an unbelievable job in terms of preparation and research going back. They've been planning this literally for years, not only collecting the donations, but also just learning about what makes, you know, a great library as they were planning ahead these spaces. And one of the things that they learned in that process is that it's actually more cost effective to just shut down the library completely and move it to another location rather than try, because one of the options is to construct sort of in phases and have parts of the library closed and parts of the library open while it's under construction. And what they discovered is that you can shorten the construction timeline enough by moving the library completely that you can save a significant amount of money, because of course construction crews are paid by the hour. And so they made the decision. It was actually the most cost-effective option to move. And so now, after lots of preparation, they're going to be moving into their new location at 1701 North Spring Street, which is the old Bassett Furniture Store. It's right next to Noble Community Clinic. Their last day of operation at the current location will be August 2nd, and then they'll reopen at the new location on September 2nd, and they'll be there for the duration of the build. And that could last anywhere from, it's projected to take 6 to 9 months. We all know how construction goes, could be longer, fingers crossed. But during that time, they'll have not all, but many of the services that library patrons are accustomed to at their new location.
Right, and I understand the premium was put on that to disrupt the customer service as little as possible.
Correct.
Very good.
Yep.
We're talking to Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck about all things happening around the city. We're going to take another short break, then be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. By Daily Dodge, here's Terry Bell.
Thank you, Jake. We're talking to Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck, and you're welcome to join the conversation. Call or text 920-887-9595, or give us a call at the studio at 885-4446. So the library will be on the move temporarily before it gets back to its permanent home, maybe in 6 to 9 months after setting up shop further north on Spring Street. The fire station may or may not be on the move. That's something that is being studied right now.
Correct. Last fall, the Common Council approved funds for a study of our current fire station in terms of its feasibility of the needs, current and future needs for our firefighting and our system, our entire system there. And the organization that we hired to do the study is an organization called Five Bugles. And they came back in May with their first conclusion, a little earlier than they had planned, but what they had discovered, and they had gone over that building with a fine-tooth comb. They submitted a report, and actually I think it's on the city website if people are interested, photographs, measurements, you name it, detailing how, in their professional opinion, our current fire station, the building itself, has outlived its useful lifespan, that to bring it up to current codes would require more than the building itself is worth, and that the location, while the location is not bad, the building itself, probably it would be difficult to update it for current firefighting needs, because the firefighting industry has changed tremendously since the late 50s or early 60s when that building was first built. So basically the recommendation was you need to tear down the building and either build a new building on that site, or a new building, one large new building elsewhere, or two smaller fire stations, because I know a lot of people have talked about the need to maybe have a fire station more on the northern side of town, where as the population grows. So when they came, that was in May, when they came to a city council meeting, and at that point they said the best way to determine where the best site would be is to do what's called a GIS study, which involves geographic informational analysis. And so the Common Council approved the funds for that. Well, no, actually there were no additional funds. It was part of the original proposal. They look at all of our actual drive times, all of our calls, where they're located, how long it takes to get there, all of those specific data points for Beaver Dam's fire department, and then they use that to make recommendations about where the best places would be so that our firefighters are most efficiently reaching the people that need their services. So we're awaiting the results of that study. We're hoping to get that this fall. Once that happens, then the next step, of course, would be for the council to decide what steps it wants to take. I'm hoping that they'll move forward with approving the idea of a new fire station. At that point, it'll still be a 2 to 5 year process before, getting the funds and getting the design and all of those kinds of things. So we're not looking at a new fire station anytime real soon, but it's definitely in the pipeline and it's very much needed. I know shortly after I became mayor, one of the first things that I did was I was invited on a tour of the fire station. And I'll be honest, I was, first of all, extremely proud. If you see the work that our firefighters do, they're such dedicated professionals, what they do to help keep everyone safe is very impressive. But I also was a little bit embarrassed looking at the facility and seeing how our staff has made do with the existing facility as long as they have. but just things are so different now. For example, we have a significant number of female firefighters. That building was not designed to have sleeping quarters and bathroom facilities for two different genders. And it's the dormitory area where the firefighters live and sleep and shower and all of those things when they're on duty. You know, think about if you had a college, you know, an old college dorm bathroom. When I think back to my college experience, and you know, and it's worse than that. It's just, I just gotta give props to all those firefighters who live with that day in and day out. Many of the there's water leakage problems. They've been unable to completely repair the roof. And so if there's a heavy rain, there's water leakage. Many of the original structures are no longer code compliant, so they have stairways that are too narrow or too wide, and the runners are too short or too tall. It's a maze, you know, of steps and narrow hallways, and then we expect the firefighters to get to their trucks quickly and get out on the road. So yeah, it's definitely needs to come.
Well, I think that's an important point, and what was explained to me was this isn't just a matter of, you know, the firefighters wanting a nicer building to work in. The facility as exists now makes it slower to get to the scene than they really should be getting. I mean, this is really affecting public safety.
Exactly. That there are standards that the profession has in terms of the time it takes from the time that an alarm comes in or a call comes in. There's supposed to be a set amount of time or an ideal amount of time between the time the call comes in and that the firefighters are to their vehicles, and then there's another time from the vehicles to get to the call, and all of those things are affected by the building and how difficult sometimes it can be for them to have to, and they have a professionally determined amount of time to get suited up, to get to their gear and get suited up. You know, all of those steps, you know, they look at those times and they shoot for those standards, and the building can definitely hamper those.
We have just a couple more minutes. Maybe we should just touch on an update on the Madison Street street construction that's happening there. Work is well underway.
Yeah. Again, this has been a long time coming, but it was much needed. The project includes not just resurfacing the street, but it includes new sewer, new stormwater, new curb and gutter, all of those things that you know, have a lifespan of 40 or so years, and now they need to be replaced. This year we're doing Madison Street from Curry to Chatham, and it includes that Curry intersection. So I know there's been some people who are unhappy about the inconvenience there. The detour takes you all the way out of town onto 151 and then back up South Madison, which for some people that's is an inconvenience. But it's really important to give the construction crews the leeway and allow them to get the job done so that we can get this project completed this fall. That's the goal. We also, this is part of a bigger vision that we're going to be doing this section this year, and then I believe either next year or the following year we'll be doing Madison from Chatham to Rowell. So then we'll have the street from Rowell all the way to Curry completely rebuilt,
Okay.
which is exciting.
Sure. And as you alluded to, one ongoing issue is the fact that people are still driving in the construction area when they're being advised not to. Is that causing any significant problems? Well,
First thing, of course, it's a huge safety issue for the people who are working on the project. It's also a hazard for private vehicles that are driving in locations that aren't designed for vehicle traffic. You could damage your car. And then it also can hamper the progress of the project, because if there's significant cars driving in areas that are gravel or that aren't meant for traffic, sometimes that requires the construction crew to go back and refix things or adjust things. So yeah, it's just better if people can just take a deep breath and live with the inconvenience, just for this short, I know it seems like a long time, but it really is just a short few months.
In the big picture.
In the big picture. Of course, the people who live on Madison Street, they have all of my sympathy in terms of the inconvenience they're experiencing. I wish there were more that could be done, but for people who don't live on Madison Street, if at all possible, just avoid that area.
Okay. I'm afraid we are out of time. Bobbi, Marck, it's been an hour well spent. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks so much, Terry.
You've been listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be